Next topic is about the regression analysis. And the regression analysis is one of the important tools that usually used in theoretical econometrics. And in this section, we are going to deal with the origin of the term regression. Actually, the term was introduced by Francis Galton, and it was derived as part of a research work done by Galton. He made an analysis of the relationship between the height of parent and their children or their son, and based on this research work he derived the term, or he introduced the term regression in the econometric analysis. That according to these experiments, or according to his analysis, he found two important findings: that there there was a tendency for tall parents to have tall children and short parents to have short children. That is a general thing. And the second one is that second findings of his study on the basis of the height of parent and the son is that average height of the children born of parent of a given height tend to move towards the average height of the population. And that is, average height of the children of the given of the children of the parents of a fixed age or fixed height tends to move towards the average of the population. An important findings, and this therefore it is known as the law of universal regression. And a lot of experiments or the analysis were done on the basis of his findings, and finally his friend Carl Pearson also confirmed his analysis. And Carl Pearson also collected more than 1,000 records of the heights of members of family group, and he found that in his research work he also found that the average height of sons of group of tall fathers was less than their father's side. Average height of son of a group of short fathers was greater than the, that mean according to him his main analysis is that the average height of son of tall fathers was less, and the average height of short parents was average height of the sons of short parents was more than their parents, or there is a tendency to move towards the average. And the term he used for explaining this particular phenomena or this particular characteristics of his sample group or the population is the regressing, or he found that regressing tall and short sons alike tends to move towards the average height of all men. And therefore, Galton used the term regression to mediocrity, that is, regression to the average or mean of the population. This is the interpretation given by Galton, and this is the base of the regression analysis. That is, if we take into account two variables, there is a tendency to move the relationship between these two variables towards the average of the total population or total sample. But the modern interpretation, we have, or the modern interpretation is somewhat different from the interpretation given by the Galton and Carl Pearson. According to the modern interpretation, regression is the study of dependence of one variable and one or more other variable. That is the first thing. According to the modern interpretation of regression, it is the study, or regression is the study of the dependence of dependent variable and one or more independent variable, or it is the study of dependent variable and one or more explanatory variables. That is the first thing you want to remember. That first one is that this modern interpretation or the modern regression analysis is concerned with the dependence of one variable, that is dependent variable, on one or more other variable or explanatory variable, and our purpose is the estimation or predicting the population mean or average value of the dependent variable in terms of the given or fixed fix the value of the independent or explanatory variable. That is, we want to predict the average value of the dependent variable given the independent variable. I think you got the point. That is, regression, a modern interpretation of regression analysis is somewhat different from the regression or the concept given by Galton and Carl Pearson. In modern interpretation, we study the relationship between dependent and one or more independent or explanatory variables. And our purpose is to estimate or predict the mean or average value of the dependent. We are estimating or predicting the average value of the dependent variable, not of the independent variable, not of explanatory variable. We are predicting and estimating the average or mean value of the dependent variable given one or more independent variables. This is the modern interpretation of the regression analysis. This is the basics of regression or the origin. Once again, I'll repeat the terms. The term was introduced by Francis Galton and it was confirmed by Carl Pearson, and the modern interpretation explains the, or according to him, or according to the Galton and Carl Pearson, there is a tendency for the average of for the variables to move towards the average of the given sample or the population. But the modern interpretation is somewhat different, and according to the modern interpretation, we study the dependence of one variable, the dependence of dependent variable given one or more independent variable. And here our analysis or our purpose is the estimation or prediction of the mean value of dependent variable given the independent variables. ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ